On October 1st, Britain opened its doors to a new Supreme Court, and the former justices who used to sit in the House of Lords moved to their new home across the street from the Houses of Parliament. The new independent Supreme Court heard its first full day of cases on October 5th. Queen Elizabeth II attended the official opening ceremony Friday. Lord Nicholas Phillips, who serves as the president of the UK Supreme Court, escorted the Queen through the court's chambers, where she met with Supreme Court staffers and justices.
Director of Finance. Just a little bit.
There's a few things.
Just a little bit.
Doing it out website.
Yes.
Justices from around the world came on Friday to celebrate the opening of the Supreme Court. U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts and Associate Justices Stephen Breyer and Antonin Scalia were also present for the festivities. Following the tour, Lord Phillips and British Prime Minister Gordon Brown addressed the crowd. Here's a portion of what they had to say.
Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, Archbishop, Lord Chancellor, Prime Minister, representatives of the devolved administrations, fellow judges from the United Kingdom and from around the world, distinguished guests, welcome. Future generations, looking back on this day, will recognize the creation of the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom as a major landmark in our history. We are greatly honoured that Your Majesty has come to perform the official opening. Your Majesty is more used to coming to this square for the state opening of Parliament. Not every intention in the bosom of the government is disclosed in the speech that Your Majesty makes on that occasion. Thus, the announcement by the government on the 12th of June 2003 of constitutional changes that included the creation of the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom came as a surprise to many and was welcomed by some, but not by all. But as the plans for the new court were developed in consultation with the law lords, appreciation of the merits of the creation of the Supreme Court, together with the practical advantages that it would bring, resulted in a growing head of enthusiasm for the move.
Today we take the next step in our journey as a nation that spans the greatest part of a millennium, from the Magna Carta through the civil wars and revolutions of the 17th century, the struggles against the slave trade, the widening of the franchise, the transition from empire to commonwealth, and out of the embers of war and genocide in the last century, the rise of universal and fundamental rights. And this morning we take the short but highly symbolic journey across Parliament Square to arrive here at at what was once the Middlesex Guildhall and to affirm for new times the separation of judicial and legislative power in our country. This is a journey which today brings together distinguished justices and leaders from among the world to celebrate the special place that liberty and justice holds in our hearts, and the special place that the law holds in our national identity and our national story. At democracy's darkest hour in the 1930s, George Orwell wrote that the totalitarian idea that there is no such thing as law, there is only power, has never, ever taken root in Britain. The rule of law, the predominance of the legal spirit, Dicey said, may be described as a special attribute of our institutions. I think no country worked harder to assert fundamental rights and freedoms for Europe. It was a cause that united Britain's Nuremberg prosecutors as they worked together to draft a convention that has stood the test of time and enshrines for modern Europeans much hard-won British liberties: the right to life, the prohibition of torture, inhumane and degrading treatment and slavery, the right against arbitrary detention, the right to a fair trial, respect for personal privacy, freedom of thought, conscience and religion, free speech, and crucially, equal treatment under the law. These, the fundamentals of the Convention, are essential to democracy itself. It is a fundamental premise of the constitutional settlement that we are building that an impartial and independent judiciary can only be fully impartial and fully independent if it is protected from political interference. That is our commitment, and it is why we now have the head of the judiciary appointed from within the ranks of the professional judiciary and not a politician, a transparent and non-partisan and non-political means of appointing judges, and today a Supreme Court, not a rarely seen committee in the upper house, but now a new court, supreme and separate, and in a new home, now seen by all to be so. A separation of powers, once guaranteed only by convention, is now cemented by statute. A Supreme Court whose very existence reminds us that because of the protection offered to every citizen of the United Kingdom, and because of the rule of law, our society can flourish, our economy can prosper, our democracy can endure, and justice can always prevail.
For more information on the UK Supreme Court and to watch video from their first day of proceedings, visit our website at cspan.org.